We need to make sure that we're maximizing our online presence. And the way to do that is to sit down and do a load of this stuff. Do it all at once. Just sit down for an hour in front of the TV of an evening, maybe a couple of evenings in a row to get that 6 weeks worth of content, get it all scheduled up there and put a note in your diary for in that week 5 and week 6 that you need to do it all again. It's great if you can get ahead, especially when you look at it and you go, oh, there's holidays coming up then. I can only post 6 weeks in advance, but if I've got all this content here, I can go in on this date with the content and just post it because I've got it. I've got ahead.
Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, coaches, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to the needs of you, the practicing natural therapist. We have interviews during the holiday season and business and mindset support each week, so you'll get the variety you need to enjoy and stay motivated in your practice. Don't forget to subscribe to receive the weekly episodes. And if you want to connect with me, always check the show notes because that's where you'll find the links to book appointments and, of course, to join the Academy, the membership group where there's constant connection and community with like-minded practitioners. Now, let's get started.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite Size Podcast. How the devil are you? So, as you may or may not know, I'm away at the moment. My husband is going to be running in the Amsterdam Marathon. So we're hanging out in the Netherlands mostly, checking it out and discovering a whole new country. And when I have downtime, of course, what do? Yeah, play games on your phone. But I'm also Googling, I'm looking up other naturopaths and nutritionists. I'm seeing how they do things over here. And what I have realized since I've been in different places, one step back, wherever you are, when you Google something is often dictated by the area you're in. So if you Google the exact same thing in Adelaide, where I live, and Byron Bay, you'd get two different answers because Adelaide is very conservative and Queensland and Byron Bay, of course, are not considered to be conservative. So you'd get two different answers to the same question. So here I am in the Netherlands, moving back to what I was saying, and of course I'm Googling, I'm looking up natural therapists, I'm looking up nutritionists and naturopaths, and I'm getting very different answers to what I would get were I doing the same thing in Australia. So we need to maximize our online presence, and that is what I'm seeing the difference over here. The Europeans are not as vocal about natural therapies, and yet they use them. Okay, they use them, but they're not as vocal about them. So it's really interesting when I look through, I'm now following some French naturopaths and nutritionists. There's lots of rules in the EU about what they can and can't advertise, just like there's rules in Australia for registered practitioners, what you can and can't do. You can't be on social media in Australia saying, hey, I use this product every morning and I think it's great, because then you're an influencer. And you're not allowed to be an influencer. So even influencers aren't allowed to use products and go, hey, look at me. So these rules, and there's different rules here. But that means that we have to maximize our online presence in a way that supports what we do without being the influencer, but we're spreading across all of the systems. Back in September, I talked about delivering exceptional client experiences. And that was starting at the very beginning of the consult and working all the way through how they find you, the consult, finishing the consult, booking the follow-up and the follow-up emails, right? So I talked about that back in September. Now, when we think about maximizing our online presence, we need to take that information and what we learnt then into account now. So we've got our niche, hopefully. We know our client's problem and we're working to our client's problem. And now we need to maximize our online presence within that area. And how do we do that? So if your problem is one that people Google, IBS or something they've got a diagnosis for, rheumatoid arthritis, whatever it might be, they've got a diagnosis, they Google it. So we need to make sure that we're all over Google. Okay, you're on Google My Business. We need to maximize where we can be seen and how the algorithms talk to us. That means making sure everything's connected. It means that you need to update your website on a regular basis. How are you updating your website on that regular basis? Are you putting up blogs or vlogs or connecting it? Are you putting in Google My Business an update every week? You should be. If you're not, you should be. We want to play with Google for Google to play with us. All right? If you take your bat and ball and go home, then Google will forget that you exist and not bother with you. So what we need to do is maximize our online presence. So Google My Business is a great way of doing that. And we do need to have social media connections, not because we have to be on social media every single day. Yes, I have things uploaded every single day, but I have a VA doing it for me. I couldn't do that every single day myself. Okay, when I haven't had a VA doing it for me, then I've uploaded something once a month, which isn't enough. So be thinking about a minimum of once a fortnight into all of these systems, and you can pre-program that. If you've got a Canva account, then you can have them uploaded automatically, which means that once every 6 weeks, you just sit down and do 6 weeks worth of content and off it goes. We've got to maximize that online time, that what we're doing online. And when we think about it, we need to think, what am I going to provide? So say you're doing 6 weeks worth of content. You've sat down, you're in Canva or whatever your system is that you're using, and you need to write content. Okay, so if you're a member in the Academy, then you know that there is the content calendar that you can use anytime. So what are we going to post? We're going to post know, like, and trust. Okay, know, like, and trust is here I am, this is who I am, this is a picture of me, this is what I do, this is what I've got to say. So you might do a live, you might do a reel, so that people see you, they know you, they trust you. After we've got the know, like, and trust, so we need 3 things going out. And we need a authority post. So that is I know all about IBS, here's a case study. We're allowed to do case studies. So here's a case study. What we're not going to do in a case study, though, is say, this is what I gave them at the end. What instead we're going to do is say, this person came to me with IBS. Here's a review from Janice, and she's got IBS. She came to me, she had diarrhea 5 times a day. This is the review. She had 5 times a day or something. Maybe take her name out if you were going to use your actual Google review. But you could say, I've got this review. This person has IBS. They had a lot of difficulties. Now they don't. We worked for X number of weeks and we had 3 appointments, and now they're totally improved. You've got to think about how you're going to word it. But you are allowed case studies. So that shows you're an authority in that niche. You're an authority. You understand that niche. Here is this content. Here is this authority piece on why they should see you, on knowing that you're the one that's going to help. And then we also want engagement pieces. So an engagement piece might just be a funny GIF. Lots of the time you'll go into a group and they'll have a GIF come up like on a Friday Funny or something like that. And the reason I say to do 6 weeks worth is because if you do have a Facebook group, you can post 6 weeks into the future. Okay, so, and by being able to post 6 weeks into the future means that if you're creating 6 weeks worth of content, you just sit there and you go, okay, I've got 2 hours. I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to use Canva's suggestions and ideas. I'm going to use their templates or the ones that are provided in the Academy. And I'm going to create know, like, and trust. I'm going to create authority posts, and I'm going to create engagement posts, and literally off you go. And a cash creator post. So the cash creator post would be, here's my opt-in. Don't forget, I've got an appointment available next Wednesday if you're interested. And it doesn't matter. You can put those sorts of ones still within that 6 week, in the uploads. That's totally fine, because chances are you do have an appointment on Wednesday afternoon that nobody's booked into. So we want these calls to action, but we need to make sure that we've got know, like, and trust, authority, engagement, then the call to action on some of those posts. And if you're rotating through that system when you create, you'll make sure that you're covering the social media, you're covering your website, you're covering Google My Business. And if you're in LinkedIn, you're just updating LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really, if you want those executives, and we all need to make sure we have a LinkedIn profile, even if we never go to it, because people trust a LinkedIn profile. Goodness knows why. but they do. That's seen as a business profile. So it's worth making sure that that's updated and that you've got content occasionally going in there, or you're making comment on other people's information on a regular basis. So we need to make sure that we're maximizing our online presence. And the way to do that is to sit down and do a load of this stuff. Do it all at once. Just sit down for an hour in front of the TV of an evening, maybe a couple of evenings in a row, to get that 6 weeks worth of content, get it all scheduled up there, and put a note in your diary for in that week 5 and week 6 that you need to do it all again. It's great if you can get ahead, especially when you look at it and you go, oh, there's holidays coming up then. I can only post 6 weeks in advance, but if I've got all this content here, I can go in on this date with the content and just post it because I've got it. I've got ahead. I've thought about when holidays are. I've thought about what it is that my clients need. I've thought about what it is that I could do for them. I've thought about the fact that it's muscular dystrophy week and I see people with muscular dystrophy. Therefore, I've put up some muscular dystrophy posts the week before and on that week. It is now Natural Medicine Week coming up, so I will post X number of times in Natural Medicine Week, and maybe I'll have a webinar for that week as well. The same webinar I did last year, but they're not going to know, and I will just put it in Canva. I'll change my template or something. You've got to think about, how can I get ahead? How can I do these things in bulk so that they're not bothering me, they're not hanging around on me? And to maximize that online presence, we pick the spaces we're going to be in. Now, I get my clients in Facebook, but I have to have a presence in Instagram and I have to have that presence on LinkedIn. So when I create, they just go across. Okay, so my VA posts separately, but because there's separate shaped pictures and things like that, if you have a carousel that you put in Instagram, it's going to come up as 5 or 6 different pictures in Facebook. So it's going to look really different. But when I'm posting there as well, which I do occasionally, then I will make sure that it travels across to all of the other platforms. So I'm only posting once. But pick your platforms, okay? Pick your platforms, stick with those platforms. There's Threads now, isn't there? So I've joined Threads. I've still got no clue all this time later how long has Threads been going now. I joined up. I was like, yeah, follow all the same people. I've got no idea what I'm doing. It's sitting there. If you're wondering why I haven't reacted to anything of yours in Threads, it's because I still don't understand it. Sorry. But we want to maximize that online presence, and we want to do it in the spaces that we enjoy, we understand, we know. And in spaces we don't enjoy, don't go there. Don't worry about it. Or only post there once a month just to show a presence, because some people, for your client to book in with you, unless it's a direct referral from someone they know, then they will just book in with you. But if it's not, if they've got their diagnosis and they start Googling it, then they will stalk you politely and nicely, not like a stalker, and that they will find your website. Then they will go and look at social media at what you're offering, because they need around 20 plus touch points before they'll consider booking in with you. And they'll need to see you, what you do before they book in. There has to be a trust factor. Reviews are part of that trust factor. So that's a great way. If you've got some review, you ask your clients. As soon as your client says, thank you so much for helping me, straight in with, I'm so pleased I've been able to help you. Can you please write me a review so that others know how much I've helped? It can be really generic. You don't have to say what happened with you. Just say I'm a nice person and how much I've helped you, and that people should come to me as well. Because as soon as they say thank you, that's when you can ask. But we need to maximize that online presence. We need to take those reviews and share those reviews once they've done them. Having a Google review is fine because there's nothing we can do about Google reviews. So where we're not allowed, as if you're APRA registered, you're not allowed to have reviews, but you can't actually do anything about a Google review. You can't close them. You can't do anything about them. So because you can't do anything about them, there's no choice. They're there. So encourage your clients to Google review you, whether you're APRA registered or not. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't make it go away. People can just review you on there and you can't get rid of them. So do it. Maximize your online presence. Look around you. Where are your favorite spaces? Get in there and do it. So lovely chatting. And on that note, don't forget to leave me a review. I'd love one. Thank you. Preferably 5 stars. Not just preferably. I really would like another 5-star review, please. So have a good one, and I'll see you on the next cast.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. If you'd like even more support and learning, then the Academy is for you. Here you'll find part 2 of the herbal discussions, more clinical learning, and case studies to support your clients in practice. Bye for now.